Красота! Класс!
Sky News reports Russia has moved up to 50,000 troops near Kharkov, including ELITE VDV. A possible offensive may target Kharkov, Sumy, or 2022 liberated areas. Analysts say Moscow has a 4-month window before weather worsens and old Soviet gear runs out. Russian forces are reportedly gathering across the border from Ukraine's fortress city. Are they preparing for a major attack? After pushing Ukrainian troops out of Kursk, the Russian region they had occupied parts of for many months, what's left of the 50,000-strong Russian force is positioned just across the border from Kharkiv. A major push along all or part of the front line by Moscow's troops has been expected for some time, but has not yet fully materialized, analysts say. It's believed Russia has a 4-month window to break through Ukrainian forces before the weather begins to turn and dwindling stocks of Soviet tanks possibly start to run low. Kremlin troops have been gathering on the other side of the border near Kharkiv in northeast Ukraine, according to a senior Ukrainian military figure. The enemy is trying to pull its personnel closer to the line of combat contact and conduct at least some assault actions. Andriy Pomahybus, chief of staff of the 13th Operational Brigade, said this week. In general, they are not succeeding. Nonetheless, he said there is clear preparation for active assault actions by the enemy. Sky News military analyst Michael Clark says the accumulation of troops comes off the back of the Russian operation to push Ukraine out of the pocket of the Kursk region they had occupied, which is not far from Kharkiv. Now they have Kursk back, the argument is, will they keep going? Some of Russia's most experienced soldiers, including from the ELITE VDV airborne unit, were moved to reinforce the Kursk campaign and could still be among the gathered troops. Prof. Clark adds, if they have left those units there, that would suggest they want them to spearhead something else. If those units turn up back around Pokrovsk in Donetsk, that would then mean they are not about to build up a major strategic attack near Kharkiv. Prof. Clark says it's possible Russia is preparing for a big push near the border cities of Kharkiv and Sumy. This could either be a direct attack on one of the cities, a tough task given how well defended they are, or an attempt to capture much of the surrounding area Ukraine liberated in autumn 2022. Located just 20 miles from the border with Russia, Kharkiv is Ukraine's second largest city with a pre-2022 population of more than 1 million. It is regarded as a fortress and was awarded the distinction Hero City of Ukraine for its resistance during the opening months of the 2022 invasion. However, Professor Clark doesn't think Russia has the resources for a big push at Kharkiv or Sumy this summer, after the Kremlin instead opted to try to attack along wide stretches of the front line. I think the Russians basically used up the forces they might have otherwise used up for a strategic offensive, he says. This, he says, caused Ukraine to use up its reserves to counter the Russian attacks. Both sides have sacrificed the possibility of a strategic offensive for this ongoing battle of attrition. Dr. Jack Watling, a military expert from the RUSI think tank, argues Russia will likely soft launch its offensive, rather than going for a rapid maneuver by large mechanized units. The Russians lack the force quality to operate in this way, he says. Instead, the summer offensive will likely see a steady increase in the number and scale of assaults across a broadening area, he added. Indeed, there are indications this process has already started. Prof. Clark says Russia has a 4-month window to make a breakthrough in Ukraine this year. I think they must know this is their last year of buildup before they reach a plateau, he adds, referring to Russia's issues with tank production. Thus far, Russia has been using its vast stocks of vehicles left over from the Soviet era, with only about 25% of its armor coming from new production. Dr. Watling agrees. Russian stockpiles of legacy Soviet equipment, from tanks and infantry fighting vehicles to artillery pieces, will be running out between now and mid-autumn, such that Russia's ability to replace losses will be entirely dependent on what it can produce from scratch. This, he added, makes the prospect of fresh sanctions from Europe and possibly America particularly timely. In Russia, Strike drones hit the Azot chemical plant in Novomoskovsk, Tula region. The Telegram channel Exilinova Plus published a video showing smoke in the area around the plant. The fire broke out in the morning of May 24th as a result of a drone attack, according to local residents. The Azot chemical plant in Novomoskovsk, Tula region is one of the largest chemical plants in Russia. The plant specializes in the production of nitrogen fertilizers, including ammonia, urea, and other chemical products. In particular, the plant is capable of manufacturing chemical components necessary for the production of explosives. The Russian Ministry of Defense reported that it had managed to shoot down only one drone over the Tula region. In total, more than 100 drones attacked Russia, targeting various objects in different regions of the country. According to their data, during the night and morning of May 24th, 94 Ukrainian drones were allegedly destroyed by air defense forces. They cite the following unconfirmed data on downed UAVs: 64 UAVs over the Belgorod region, 24 UAVs over the Bryansk region, 2 UAVs over the Kursk region, 2 UAVs over the Lipetsk region, 1 UAV over the Voronezh region, 1 UAV over the Tula region. The effectiveness of Ukrainian drone strikes on targets in Russia is growing with each month of the war. Ukrainian drones regularly hit targets deep behind enemy lines, sometimes at distances of over 1,000 kilometers. Recently, a new long-range strike drone, the Pantsir, capable of covering distances of over 800 kilometers, was unveiled in Ukraine for this purpose. Ukrainian helicopter shot down a Russian Shahed drone mid-flight.
О, красота! Класс!
Нифига себе. 8 секунд было, да, по-моему?
Да, десь так.
8-9.
A Russian bukhanka suddenly turned into a flaming BBQ grill after meeting a Ukrainian drone near occupied Pisky, Donetsk region.
Сука. Сука. Выехали с Песков.
A Russian Grad MLRS is out of action thanks to a precision strike by Ukraine's 414 Unmanned Systems Regiment, Magyar's Birds. Another piece of hardware removed from Russia's special mess. Russian Grad multiple launch rocket systems have been a key part of their artillery arsenal in Ukraine, known for launching devastating rocket barrages. However, Ukrainian forces have successfully targeted and destroyed several of these systems in recent months. Using precision artillery strikes, drones, and intelligence-led operations, Ukraine has managed to neutralize these rocket launchers before they could unleash large-scale attacks. The destruction of Grad systems not only limits Russia's firepower, but also disrupts their ability to bombard Ukrainian positions, giving Ukraine a tactical edge on the battlefield. Vice President J.D. Vance to Naval Academy grads. Trump admin bets on cost-effective tech, drones, cruise missiles, cyber attacks, reshaping modern battlefields. Innovation happens on the front lines, not just labs. Adapt or risk damage to our forces.
Investing in cutting-edge weaponry like hypersonics is important, but just as important are the low-cost, high-impact technologies that are already transforming the battlefield. Things like drones. And by the way, when we talk about innovation, innovation is not just happening in the laboratory of a defense contractor. Innovation increasingly is happening on the very battlefields that you will lead troops on. So that you are not just recipients of innovation, you're not just users of tools, you will very often be developing tools in this new century. Our lawmakers and military brass alike must learn to adjust to a world where cheap drones, readily available cruise missiles, and cyber attacks cause extraordinary damage to our military assets and our service members.
Last night, Russia launched a massive attack on Kharkiv. 245 UAVs and 6 missiles were destroyed over Ukraine. Air Force. 15 people injured. As Trump readies for his June parade, the 3rd Armored Corps is loading up equipment at Fort Cavazos, Texas. The railhead ops are part of preparations for the U.S. Army's 250th birthday celebration in Washington, D.C. Plans to combine celebrations for the U.S. Army's 250th anniversary with the U.S. President's birthday with a military parade through the center of Washington, D.C., are raising eyebrows and the hackles of local politicians who fear for the price tag and damage involved. Sometimes history creates moments that appear too surreal to be true. In the United States, June 14th is set to be one of those. It's the day the U.S. Army celebrates its 250th birthday, a historic event worth remembering. Since its official establishment on that day in 1775, over a year before the Declaration of Independence, the U.S. military has played a vital role in the growth and development of the American nation. 14th June is also President Donald Trump's 79th birthday, a coincidence which the White House has wasted no time in seizing as an opportunity to achieve Trump's long-held desire to stage a military parade in the streets of Washington. Trump caught the parade bug during his first term when French President Emmanuel Macron invited him to appear as guest of honor for the pomp of Paris's Bastille Day March. Although parades have celebrated U.S. military achievements in the past, the grandeur of ticker-tape parades in Trump's native New York were rendered obsolete in the 1960s as television and computers came into use for transmitting financial information.
Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. Also, if you want to support Warthog Defense, please become our member and get early access to new videos, exclusive members-only videos, and become administrator in comment section. The membership link is in the description.
Rescues every day. We had a guy last week at 6 rescues in 6 days. You know, he's doing the job every day.